mixed martial arts today?
I do.
Good, because you're going to hear about it anyways. And who wants to learn about some of the best self-defense techniques in the world?
Me. I do.
Good, because if you don't, you're going to anyways. Today we'll be talking about one of the greatest sports on TV that some people know very little about and how they rose to the top. The UFC, also known as the Ultimate Fighting Championship, is a mixed martial arts sport with some of the best top-ranked fighters in the world, who broadcast numerous events worldwide. This sport has a long history dating back to the Olympic Games in Athens around 648 BC. Mixed martial arts was inspired by Vale Tudo tournaments held in Brazil back in the 20th century. Vale Tudo is Portuguese for anything goes. It is among the most dangerous and effective fighting systems with little or no rules. At the Tap Out Academy in Wolverhampton, Vale Tudo is taught as a way of self-defense and a technique of entering the ring in full contact. Members can practice a very aggressive sport in a reasonable and friendly environment. Vale Tudo has been made famous by some fighters such as Marco Ruiz and is still used in MMA today. Vale Tudo has brought MMA into action. With Royce Gracie's submission skills and Andrea Silver's knockout power, the sport is entertaining and powerful. It all started in 1992. Two men by the names of Art Davie and Rorian Gracie decided to start a competition called War of the Worlds, which was an 8-man single elimination tournament trying to find the world's best fighter. This tournament was mixed with karate, jiu-jitsu, grappling, sumo wrestling, kung fu, and kickboxing. This tournament had various martial artists, all with different backgrounds, and was made to see what the best martial act was. Eventually, a business plan was made up along with 28 investors to start the WOW Productions. In 1993, WOW Productions went live on TV, including pay-per-view events on HBO, Showtime, and SEG, Centimore Entertainment Group. On November 12, 1993, WOW Productions and SEG premiered their first UFC event on TV, and instantly the show was a hit. With 86,592 pay-per-view subscriptions, people couldn't get enough. What was supposed to be a one-time event looked like it would be turning into something bigger. Gracie and Davie never thought this would turn into a sport, but the show continued one after another. At this time, there was little or no rules, so the fights were often brutal and vicious, so not everyone viewed this as a sport, and some were appalled by it. One person being Senator John McCain, who ran a campaign to ban the UFC, calling it human cockfighting. He sent letters to all 50 states asking them to ban these events. After repeated criticism from Senator John McCain, UFC was dropped from major pay-per-view distributors. The UFC continued to air on DirecTV pay-per-view, though at this time the viewers they were hoping for were watching larger pay-per-view TV. The authorities got involved, and then the UFC was banned in a number of American states. Political pressure eventually led the UFC into trouble, almost eliminating the public viewers and pay-per-view events for good. They knew that stricter rules needed to be enforced, so the UFC slowly enforced stricter rules and eventually was more socially acceptable by the public and was looked at as a legitimate sport, and MMA in getting its pay-per-view TV back. The UFC survived by cooperating with the state athletic commissions, redesigning the rules and introducing weight classes so that fights were fair and not so brutal. After almost going bankrupt and battling to get approved by the public, SEG was approached by Zuffa LLC, a partnership between Station Casinos executives Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta and boxing promoter Dana White. In 2001, they bought the UFC. The UFC was finally coming back with more pay-per-view events, casino venues, DVDs, and home videos. It was rising high in popularity again. The company almost went under in 1997, and now in 2002, it was showing its UFC number 40. Now the UFC offers 8 live pay-per-view events every year throughout the world and has included programming internationally, including Global Sat in Brazil, WoW Inc. in Japan, and Bravo in the United Kingdom. In 2005, the UFC also started a show called The Ultimate Fighter. These fighters want to be recognized and to make a bigger name for themselves. This is a reality TV show that brings in various talents of mixed martial artists that airs on Spike TV, who are all competing for a 6-figure contract with the UFC. Starting out, the show was actually broadcast for free, just to gain exposure for mixed martial arts. Some of the greatest fighters have come from this show, like Forrest Griffin, who fought against Stephen Bonner in the first Ultimate Fighter show. This episode, which was broadcast for free in 2005, was able to get a 57% retention rate, which was double the rate for Spike TV. The unforgettable performance drew millions of viewers, and the fight went down in history to be the most influential fight in MMA history. With this historical fight on Spike TV, renewed the show. The show now is on its 13th season and has brought in many talented MMA fighters to the UFC. The UFC has made a name for themselves and continually strives to be the biggest sport in the US. They are innovatively coming up with new ideas to get the sport more exposed. The new and improved UFC strives highly in providing the highest levels of safety and quality in all areas of the sport. By enforcing stricter rules and weight classes, the sport was once looked at as vicious and brutal, but now is a fun, exciting, and growing sport. Since the UFC was turned around in 2001 by Dana White and Zuffa LLC, it has only been growing. From UFC 61 at 775,000 pay-per-viewers to the UFC 116 at 1.16 million pay-per-viewers, the sport is on the rise. As President Dana White says, that one day this will be the biggest sport in America.
Good job.
All done.